All right, hello and welcome to my market open live stream. I'm just going to put this out on Twitter. All right, so today I have quite a bit of flow to go over, and we can go ahead and get started with that. Quick look at some of what's going on in the pre-market. What I typically do, I don't just kind of go at things randomly, but instead I have a few things I just kind of cycle through in the morning. I do look at the indices just to see what they're doing. Nothing, they're down. Nothing earth shattering though this morning. Not quite like yesterday. And then I start to go through my sectors and some of the major stocks I hit in there. So like in basic materials, first place I always look is X. We can see it down 1%. I do have this line here that was a call trigger previously that I still have some alerts on. Still a level, I think, with some promise. It's something you could trade off of. So 24.35. I'll just kind of see what it does with that. And CLF's the other steel stock. Usually these two do kind of run together. AA is a stock I'm interested in for a kind of longer term reversal, just looking for signs of that. It's like a lot of stocks has been sort of one step forward, one step back, or two steps back. But the 60 level is pretty key on it. And gold had a nice day yesterday. I posted about this in our Discord room that I thought gold looked promising to open the morning. You can see it's dipping in the pre-market as well. So we're just going to have to see how we open. Okay, and then communication services. I won't take too long with this, but I did mention in we have a voice session as part of our Discord room that these three right here, TMUS, and VZ, have been three of the more durable stocks in this sector, and they've been showing some strength in some pretty rough market conditions. So certainly, I think that they are something to watch going forward if you trade in this sector. They escaped some of the difficulties that Facebook, Snapchat, Pins, those kind of social media stocks have been having. Same with video games as well. Have certainly struggled. You look at like Roblox, and you had this nice earnings recovery, and then gave some of that back. Consumer cyclical, really, until Tesla can turn things around a bit. You're going to see Lucid, Rivian, GM. All of them will struggle. Did have some interesting movement on M. I kind of gave it back, but it had a nice bump after hours with JWN's earnings. And I kind of have a thesis going about these mall stocks into June that I'm working on, and we'll see. But I do see some promise for those to turn around. And Express, by the way, they for me are classified as a meme stock down here, but excellent beat for them. We'll see how far they can go. And as you can see, it dropped almost 20% yesterday. It's just getting half of that back, just based on the earnings beat. So significant potential gap up to $3 on that one. That's what I'll say. Okay, so other sectors, consumer defensive. Coke had a nice recovery, and as you can see, the entire sector started to really turn things around a bit. and that was good. I mean, that's a good sign. What you want as a trader, what I look for is when you have tech uncertainty, that this is a sector that can do well. In the past couple of weeks, we sort of just saw everything sell off, and that can be difficult to trade because you don't really have any upside moves to look at, and you can start to feel like maybe you're chasing puts if you get into those. So I like the sectors to have some variety to them, and really excellent day in here, and I think some of that will continue. Coke under 60 was really a very brief little gift that I don't know when the next time is. We'll see that, but if it did drop back there, I'd be running that up again. Okay, and then energy is something I look at in the pre-market. Showing some strength here. Nothing too extraordinary. Oxy does have some nice flow going into the day, so that's a name I look at. I mentioned the dividend flush on PBR. That was possible, and that ultimately happened, and then some. Maybe should have entered puts on that, but anyway, I didn't quite expect it to fall that much. But it is back in kind of interesting zone. PBR trades a little bit differently than other oil stocks. It's a Brazilian company, and so you want to keep track of how Brazilian stocks are doing in general when you trade that. And EWZ is the index fund to look at. You can see it had this massive run. You can search this on Twitter under my name, and you'll see me talking about this from back in January, and just peaked in April, came back down, and has been reversing since. So a lot of potential with this one. PBR and Vale are the two Brazilian stocks that I often trade. Okay, and then just really briefly, fintechs. I do look at BAC. Not much there, and Upstart has been failing since its little rally. Lemonade's one I like under 20. So we're there. If the market shows some strength today, this is very likely to go back to 20, and possibly 21. You'll have to kind of see, but you can see how it tends to bounce, gets up in the mid, like 20, 30, 20, 40, came back, and it's that's kind of a standard thing there. It did try to turn 20 into support for a bit and then failed again. So I wouldn't buy over 20, but I definitely would buy under 20 on Lemonade. And okay, so then healthcare. I don't trade healthcare a lot, but J&J and PFE have been the most consistent performers. If you want to play volatility, Novavax, and mRNA. Again, nothing really too remarkable there. Always worth checking in on airlines. Nothing too crazy. EV chargers, similar spot with the Tesla thing. I mean, they really need the market to be more favorable to turn around. Defense stocks, though, like RTX, they can run counter to the market and have some upside even when everything's selling off. And then you can see real estate took a real beating yesterday, so we'll see what happens there. And then, of course, tech, going to be a similar story to the indices. Got a 1% drop on Apple, and Shop is one I really need to remember to trade more. It's been making some pretty extreme moves lately, and I'd expect that. And I think a test of 300 would be very interesting for Shop. So we'll see if that happens. And then, of course, all eyes on NVIDIA and the other semiconductors today. Okay, so let's get into the flow, and let's take a look at the hot chains and tickers. And if we just go to all caps, this is something you're going to see that Tesla 600p, the weekly, is the most popular contract yesterday, with almost 80,000 in volume, and then you have this kind of mixed flow contract on Apple at 140C. Laser puts, people were kind of beating that down, and CCL heavily bearish, Rivian heavily bearish. There's a bullish laser put. So I guess the story on laser to me is really heavy volume. Interesting. It's a LiDAR stock. So you can look at laser and MVIS LIDR. So with that sector, what I've kind of been looking at and interested in is the potential for some big acquisition, and it's possible that the whales don't quite know which one, but want to be involved with those. All right, so let's push this down to the individual sectors, and we'll see what's what. So we do continue to see some heavy flow on gold. Again, the volumes exceeding the open interest there. We have some bearish activity on CLF and FCX. More bullish activity on gold. So, of these, here's mixed flow on X. Gold kind of looks the most promising going into the day, just based on what I'm seeing here, and the ticker gold in particular. And then we look at the smaller caps, and you're going to see some silver here. So that EXK, SILV, those are good for shares or monthly options. And here's AMRS. I'm fairly bullish on chemical stocks. So AMRS, DNMR, Dow, ORGN. Those are all stocks I'll be watching today. I do have some call and put triggers on Dow. I put those out on Twitter, so you can see those. And so a lot of silver here, and keep an eye on TMC as well. In fact, let's see what that one sometimes moves in the pre-market. So let's see here. All right, so not much movement there. Looks like it spiked a bit, kind of gave it back, but it's been really respecting this 130 level. It can run to $182 in a day or so, so that's worth watching. And you can see AMRS, nothing dramatic in the pre-market, but also not down. And then Dow is pretty flat on low volume, so we'll see what happens there. Okay, so then we'll take a look at. I'm going to jump down to energy. All right, so when you go into small cap energy, one that you see a lot lately is VTNR, and we can see what that's been doing. This is Vertex Energy. Had a dip yesterday, and these dips in oil are really your opportunity to get in, and we're going to see if VTNR has been range bound for a bit, but if you zoom out, you'll see where we're at. We're kind of flagging here, and this certainly could. I mean, it could fail here at 14, or it could come back and retest 16. If oil is strong, I definitely think we could catch an uptrend there. So this dip on VTNR might be an opportunity to try to scale in or do something. CLNE has been a stock that has been kind of interesting to me lately, and this leap activity is sort of the story here, and it's what I've been seeing. So kind of thinking a little bit longer term with this one, but you can see where it's at on the day chart, and kind of wish I would have caught it in the lower fours here, but I'm watching this to see how far it wants to retrace. I certainly think a reversal to the $6-7 range is feasible, and something I might be looking for. We can see back here in January when it dipped under 5, it did recover all the way to 8. So as it dipped further here, looking for it to find its footing and potentially reverse. And this is a kind of months long swing idea for me, more than a day trade. But we'll see what I can do there. And okay, so that's kind of it for the small caps and energy. Go into the mid caps. So TEL, BTU, SWN, RIG. We can see a lot of bearish activity on those. I am seeing, well, here's some bullish activity. So we're going to see, oil was down a bit yesterday. So we're going to see if what today's flow is going to do, and if any of these whales kind of exited those positions. Again, oil is kind of mixed, flat to mixed. RIG was down a little. TEL pulled back. SD is a stock I like, and it, as you can see, is going again in the pre-market. And so we'll kind of see what happens there, and BTU as well. So so some of these are definitely showing some promise. We've got natural gas up again. UNG just does not stop. It has just been phenomenal for a long time. And I remember when I was trading it when it was struggling with 20 a bit. Came back, caught quite a bit of this move. I wish I would have kept more of it, but it's just sort of in the stratosphere at this point. And you get into the larger cap energy, like I mentioned, Oxy up about half 1%, and the flow on that here is has some promise for 65C and 67C weeklies. You can see the volume exceeding the open interest on it. We have dip buyers on PBR, so I would look for some recovery there. That kind of depends on your style of trading. If you like to really, catch stocks after a big flush at the bottom, I think PBR is the one you'd want. If you want to scale in on pullbacks in an uptrend, Oxy definitely has some appeal. And one thing to notice about flow is the contracts that are potentially kind of overshooting for the week tend to have more bearish flow to them. So realistic price targets are important, and 67C, if you want a contract under $100, is, I think, a reasonable contract. I don't see any reason though to go to 70C for me personally. And so Oxy is kind of the leader in the flow as far as the largest ones go. Just the pure large caps, we do see some bullish flow on Halliburton on this sold put at 35. MRO is a good one to trade as well if you're looking for cheaper contracts that are close to in the money. Definitely do like those. Okay, very good. All right, so let me jump into industrials. Okay, when you go to large cap industrials, it's almost always going to be dominated by airlines. American Airlines in particular, you can see that the contracts here are mostly leaning bullish. A lot of sold puts at 14 and 10. I kind of ignored the leaps, looking for the shorter term stuff. So this definitely looks promising. If you did want longer term contracts on something like the airlines, if you're bullish long term and you don't want to really worry about daily price action, you can see that 19C for November is only about $150. If you're kind of new to options and you haven't really done a lot of swings, I think it's better to try it out with something like this than to drop $5,000 on a Tesla Leap or something. So the cheaper the better. Cheap and feasible. That's kind of what I look for in a swing, where it's a position I can add to. It's a position that's not going to just kill me if it goes wrong, and I can kind of test a thesis. And there's no better way to see how options move than to actually own them. It'll get your attention a lot more. That's why I don't paper trade. I like kind of having the real money in the game. Okay, so anyway, so the large caps, and then you get into the big caps. We're going to see BA here, and I had a 120 downside price target on Boeing. I don't have strong feelings below that, but you can see that 115p is a heavy volume contract yesterday that's leaning a bit bullish, and then the 120p is leaning bearish. What does that mean? Well, to me, it means that there is some potential for some more downside for Boeing, but maybe not all the way down to 115. I think that that might be overshooting a bit. So, I don't have strong feelings on a reversal on it, really. Although, you can see the longer term sold puts, like in July, are bullish. So I think we're calling a bottom on anything is difficult right now, but I think we're kind of approaching that with Boeing. I don't know that Boeing has room to push much further down. And I mean, with a lot of these, you kind of get to a point where it's like, okay, what is this? Is Boeing $100 stock? I mean, come on. It's it starts to get a little bit unthinkable, but still, the stocks have been reaching these kind of unthinkable levels for a while now. So we're getting into 2020 territory on Boeing, and the COVID low did go under $100. So it's an area I'd be really careful about playing puts, except maybe a scalp. And I'm looking for signs of a reversal on Boeing coming up. So we'll see what materializes there. And then I love looking at small cap flow. And let's see here. So we do have, I mentioned EV chargers, and so that's kind of interesting. The flow on SWBI on Smith and Wesson, I won't say a lot about that, but it's sort of sad how that happens when you have these tragedies, these just horrific mass shooting crimes, and you just kind of have to decide, I think, as a trader, what you want to how you want to approach that. But that happens almost every time that this occurs. So just kind of a sad reminder of the real world spilling into stock trading. The space plays, though. Okay, so SPCE. I can tell you this doesn't happen. This doesn't happen every day, but it happens a lot, and I do kind of notice it. So in flow, when space stocks have some potential, in terms of the tools in unusual whales, what you're usually going to see is Virgin Galactic is the one that gets the volume and gets the attention, but it's not necessarily the one that's going to do the best within that sector. So okay, so I see a lot of positive activity on SPCE, and there's definitely some potential there to trade that. And let's see what's going on. So it was down 5.79%. We can see it's down here around $6. Recent low was around 5, so that's kind of your downside. And we'll see what happens there. Definitely watching that. The market wants to go positive. This can easily have a 6, 8, 10% day. A couple other ones I like. Orb, which is kind of a spinoff stock. We can see that's been down. RDW, another space play to consider. We could see them all. All of them are just really beaten up. Not really looking to catch a knife on these, but I do think that that they'll turn around, and when they do turn around and have a good day, they're all going to run in that 6 to 12% range. So just I keep a list of these space stocks pretty close by, and when the market wants to go positive, I do tend to trade those. See the indices here. Yeah, kind of little uncertainty with QQQ in this range here. Could kind of go either way. I don't like to try to guess, but a flush at open has been sort of the norm. We do have some Fed stuff happening today, and so sometimes you'll get kind of a rundown and then a little bit of a pump into that news. If you do scalp the indices, you probably already have a plan for that. Okay, so then really quickly, I'll go through a couple more here. The technology, and again, if you go to technology and just click all, going to be a lot of Apple. And okay, so Apple contracts leaning bearish from yesterday. Doesn't necessarily mean that's going to happen today. AMD has some slightly bullish contracts, so we'll see what happens there. Going into the small caps, Coors is a name that I've been seeing a lot, and this has some bullish potential. So what is Coors? This is not the beer. Technology services, carbon neutral blockchain infrastructure and software solutions, headquartered in Austin, Texas. So this of the crypto related type stuff, this fits into that category of stocks I like, which are kind of crypto services. Those I tend to be more interested in than the miners, than the pure miners. I mean, some do both. So yeah, so Coors is in the dirt, and we're in no man's land down here from where it entered the market. I guess this was probably an IPO or a SPAC. I don't know, one or the other. probably a SPAC. It opened around $10, and so anyway, it's always a little risky down here, but in terms of the picture in the flow, it's very good. It's one of the higher volume contracts going right now, and they're looking longer term on it. December 5C, $50. I might buy one. It's maybe worth $50. See what happens with this one. If crypto starts to turn around, this definitely will recover some. And what's the downside? I think realistically, you have to consider that there is no floor. I mean, it really could go. It could fall to $2. Ask anyone who's long on something like Skills. So that can happen. But if you do think the market's going to turn around and you like the company and kind of what they're about, if you do a little research on it, those December contracts, you can easily double those or more if we get any kind of reversal. I mean, if this pulls in the money with in the next couple months, even you'll be doing very well on that. Okay, so let me actually show you that real quick, and then we'll close with that. We're going to options profit calculator, and if I were to buy a Coors Leap, and get on into December 5C, $50. Okay, I'll just buy one. All right, so if you get any kind of recovery, like if you hit $4, this is going to be profitable through the summer. At like, let's say we get into July, like you'll be up 30% on it. If you take this in the money in the summer, you'll be up over 100%. In the fall, you'll be up 80%, 60%. Etc. So, and then of course, if it goes past that, you'll be kind of in the stratosphere on it. And then you can see the downside risk as well. If it hovers down here or falls a little more, falls to 320, you're looking at like a 30% loss. Maybe you'd cut it here or something like that. But this just kind of lets you envision what can happen with this. And if it were to kind of miraculously get back up into the $7-8 range, you can see your potential there. So a potential kind of set it and forget it thing. If we were to get into this, recapture this $6 zone, maybe. But yeah, in terms of risk reward, a leap like that for $50 is worth it to me. Where I go into it saying, if I lose $20 of this, I'll just cut it, and the thesis was wrong. But I'm going to follow the whales on this one, and so that's something that I do sometimes do is small cap leaps. I will take a chance if I see enough whales doing it, and I do like Coors for that reason. Okay, so that'll do for my my live stream. Really appreciate your attendance and support. I wish you all the best of luck in your trading today, and I will look to be on for a closing stream. I've kind of had a lot of chaotic stuff going on with a move I've got coming up, and family taking my family up to Chicago for the summer. So I'm just kind of arranging that and a new house and all that. So a lot of life stuff happening for me, but all pretty exciting. And so anyway, everybody take care. Have a great trading day, and I will see you this afternoon.